So right now, fewer than 5% of brands are actually doing anything about AI search or Reddit. And that gap is the biggest opportunity I have seen in a decade, maybe even longer than that. So it's just a huge opportunity right now. This is like SEO 25 years ago.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
On this episode of the Marketing Expedition Podcast, I get to speak with Danny Kirk, bootstrapped serial founder transforming how brands leverage Reddit for organic growth, AI search optimization, and strategic growth hacking that delivers real results. We're going to talk about how Reddit is shaping the future of AI search and why brands should show up authentically today to dominate their world and dominate tomorrow's search results. Why ethical, long-form engagement beats automation and shilling. So we're going to talk all about that. But first, it's time now for our Marketing Essentials moment, the basics that you need to help you continue to build your brand and your bottom line. Okay, today's topic, we are going to talk about change orders. Just like in construction industries, things can change. And so in ad agencies or any other companies who do things that have a change in scope of work, a change order applies. And so I come across this a few times with some clients that, this is the budget, this is what we have nothing more that we can spend. And then they do scope changes. So having a conversation sometimes feels uncomfortable or sticky or tricky. But if we set up that expectation in advance and everyone knows that the opportunity could be there to have additional discoveries along the way, we try to build in a contingency budget whenever some new discoveries or new things come up that we did not anticipate when we very first estimated the project. And some of our projects go a long period of time and new things can arise or new opportunities or challenges can be faced, new directions, new paths that can change the course of the budget. So when we look at having to do a change order, the best thing that we can always anticipate and share is that we say we would be happy to get you an estimate at the end of the day or by the end of the day to share what more on that change of scope is going to result. I always try to set the expectation that before we blow the budget, if it comes up, we always want to make sure that our clients are aware of where we're at and what we're doing as much as we possibly and physically are able to do that. And so sometimes change orders come up. So just thinking about how you are, if you're a client working with an agency, understanding that sometimes things do arise that are just out of or beyond our control. Some things that I can give examples for when, if we're doing a print program or, the cost of paper can fluctuate, the cost of the materials can fluctuate in what we're trying to accomplish or produce from when we quoted it way back when we started the project to then now when it comes time to actually do the print products, for example. So thinking about all these different types of ways that change orders can come about because of the things that do change. And so just understanding and being aware of the ideas behind why a change order could happen. Also, we try to put in how many rounds of revisions or changes that we're going to make that we just already embed into our estimates. Sometimes we underestimate things. If new things have come to light or new changes or new directions of what we're designing or producing or editing or whatever the case might be. Other change orders can be made because we've found a new channel to advertise, a new way to get the message out, a new way to repurpose the video content, a new way of doing things that we hadn't really thought of before. And so that could also constitute for a change order if we want to try this new way of doing something, right? New technology, new information, new way of getting your brand out there in the world. So thinking about that as a contingency plan and understanding the scope can change, the fees can change, the timeline can change, especially if these projects are going over year and they take longer. Or another thing that can change direction is if we're waiting on clients to get back to us and they don't get back to us right away with their feedback or their input or their approvals. And then, months later, they come back to us and now we have to get back onto the project again. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get back into what we're doing, or maybe there's new directions that come from that, from just delays and those types of things. So if a change of scope is something that is needed, then you can anticipate that change order, and having that great working relationship with your agency is really the key to that mutual success. And that's going to be true no matter what we do, whether it's a change order or not, right? Having the communication and just understanding our expectations, your expectations as a client. And so thinking through, okay, what is it that I can do to minimize the change order need for change order or request for changes, right? So yeah, just continually having that open conversation and a good relationship with your agency, and understanding if the project has evolved outside of the original scope, that a change order is sometimes necessary. And try your best not to make it icky or sticky because it just doesn't make it comfortable for anybody. But also, I always say, if you go to the store and you want to buy 1 gallon of milk and you take it to the cash register and ring it up and you buy that 1 gallon of milk, but you know what? Your partner calls and said, you know what, can you go get us another gallon of milk because we have cookies and we're going to need more milk. Well, you got to go back and get another gallon of milk and take it up, and it's going to cost twice as much because now you have twice as much product, right? Kind of same thing with what we're doing. We're doing things, if we're adding things to the scope, if we're going to have an additional shoot, or if we want a 2-camera shoot versus a 1-camera shoot, if that changes, then it takes more people to do those things. So just thinking about what your expectations are, how your expectations align with the project the way it is versus what it could be. And sometimes it's necessary and makes it all the better because we have a little bit more budget to do a little bit more to make it even better than before and increase that production value, increase the value of what we're creating and giving and putting and producing out there in the world for you. So just a little note about change orders. Now, let's get into the next part of the podcast. Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest, we have Danny Kirk with us. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Thanks for having me, Ray.
And Danny, I always like to just give more of a background than what we do in the bio and kind of the fun things that people may not know about you. Tell us a little history of really how you got to where you are and doing all of the wonderful AI things that you're doing now.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for asking. So I am actually born in the swamps of Georgia to a family of musicians and academics. So as far as marketing and business go, it couldn't have been farther from that. But I was raised a musician, a trumpet player. My dad was a trumpet professor, actually. Did that from a very young age, all through high school, and then got a degree at the University of Arizona from it. It was quite the ride. Took me many incredible places, which I'm thankful for. But then ended up stumbling into entrepreneurship later in my kind of college career. As many people do, sounded interesting, knew that trumpet was kind of on the way out. It wasn't what I was going to be doing for a career, but stumbled into it. And over the past 15 years, have started multiple companies, many failures, a few big wins. But that's kind of led to where I am today here at ReddiReach.
Well, without the failures, we can't learn faster and forward, right? So that's good.
Yeah, for sure. They used to be painful, and now I embrace them.
That's right. That's right. Good experiences, as we say. So tell me a little bit more. Let's just dig in and share as we go on this marketing journey together. What are some of the things that you're doing now and helping your clients? And, without giving away the farm, what's some of the tactics that you take, some success stories? Just share a little bit more about what this whole thing with Reddit and AI is all about.
Yeah, thank you. So at ReddiReach, we serve about 45 different brands at any one time. And I'm proud to say we actually just got our first $1 billion brand as a client. So anywhere. Yeah,
Yay!
I'm actually a customer of them, and that was not related to them becoming a client. So I'm a big fan of that one. But yeah, we serve companies from seven figures to now 10 figures, and actually some that are lower than seven figures, some startups as well, because I have a soft spot for them.
Yeah.
But our goal is to get AI search to name drop their brand is effectively our
Mhm.
kind of catchphrase. And how we do that is through Reddit marketing. Now, your guests or your listeners may already be aware of this, but Reddit is a large source of training data for all the major LLMs. Essentially,
Mhm.
what the large language models and the AI labs are looking for is really great human data. And Reddit is a great kind of public source of that. You can go on Reddit without an account, which means it's easy to scrape for companies. And people are pretty genuine on there because it's pretty much anonymous. It's actually pseudonymous, but it's, people can kind of hide behind their profiles and be who they are. So it's an incredible source of training data. And effectively, since the AI is scraping Reddit, we are going in and finding really great conversations to insert our client's brand name into via commenting in a truly genuine, helpful, factually accurate, and truthful way that then moves the needle for them. So that's from a high level what we do.
Nice. So tell me about something that occurred for one of your clients because of this AI name dropping in the comments, as you say.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a big name. Actually, they're a small name, but they're a seven-figure protein bar brand that is going up against the nine-figure incumbent. And the
Mm.
nine-figure incumbent actually had sold a 10-figure brand, and then they started a new brand. So they've got all the resources in the world to
Right.
kind of make sure nobody else wins. So our this one client, the protein bar brand, they have a really great niche, though in certain kind of nutrition categories and workout styles and whatnot. So Reddit is really great for niches. They have these things called subreddits, which are just essentially topically oriented little communities and forums within Reddit that you can go join. So whether it's the CrossFit Reddit or the keto diet subreddit,
Mm.
this brand had a bunch of different those with, there are 100,000 true fans on there that we could go into. So we found really incredible, really relevant posts and made some great comments on those. We just kind of lit that snowball, very similar to
Mhm.
SEO. It's kind of a long tail strategy. And these days, they're getting, just a couple months in, 2,105 new website visitors a month last time I checked from AI search recommending their brand. And what's great is they're really starting to make moves on the bigger nine-figure competitor because those guys are kind of resting on their laurels, not doing too much because they don't have to. And yeah, they're really starting to take ground on them. So that's one success story I really love.
So tell me a little bit about the comments that were made. Is it's not salesy in nature, but educational, or just share a little bit about kind of the types of comments. You said that they're authentic, they're true, they're helpful. Like, what is it that kind of is the thing that makes it work?
Yeah, so first and foremost, it's kind of abiding by all of the rules of Reddit and the ethos of each subreddit. So Reddit is very anti-salesy and anti-marketing. So it's, for lack of a better descriptor, just acting cool. And, it's there's no bullet points in our comments. It doesn't look like AI or anything like that. No M dashes, but just going in there and essentially, like, what would you text a friend if they asked you what's the best protein bar for this category? Is kind of what you would answer for that. Super casual statement that we believe is also genuine, helpful to the reader. That's a big one for us. Our first goal is to help the reader because if we help the reader, then they usually take our advice and it creates a good human interaction. And then factually accurate and truthful. We're pretty much the highest standard in Reddit marketing. We actually abide by all FTC rules, even though it's not a requirement and it's
Oh,
all anonymous. But we represent 10-figure brands. So it's important to us to abide by all those rules. So we're not claiming product use or anything like that. We're just spreading positive brand awareness with factual statements and the ethos and tone of a Reddit user.
that's amazing that you can do that and it seems human, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's always a little bit of a battle. It's walking that fine line is not totally easy all the time. But yeah, it seems to work pretty well. And the more human and authentic we are, usually that creates a great interaction in the comments. And then what is AI looking for? What are they looking to scrape? They're actually looking to scrape human interaction, high signal human interaction. So the more genuine and helpful we can be, usually that is the highest signal for AI search to come and scrape. So it's kind of a double win.
So if a new startup is trying to just even build awareness about their brand, what's the process that you would go through to work with? I mean, it doesn't even have to be a startup. I mean, just a new client. Like, what would you go through? How would you discover, what they need and how it would all work with working with you?
Yeah, for sure. So even if you're not working with us, I still think Reddit is a great place to market. You can always, as a brand or as the founder of a brand, and especially startups, because people on Reddit love seeing people build in public. So you can totally go on there and make your own profile, warm it up correctly, get some karma, start joining communities where your 1,000 true fans are, and then just start, telling your stories and posts. In posts, it's important to really be helpful and kind of storytelling and teach lessons and whatnot. Yet again, not salesy, just adding that value and telling stories and kind of to bring the community along with you and show what you're building. And then in the commenting as well, if your product solve something for other people, just go into the comments. You don't even have to mention your product name, just offer your advice and whatnot. People will go visit your profile. So you can always do this yourself. And for anyone building a lean startup, without, all this crazy capital that we see today, that's a great way to do it. And then, of course, on our services side of things, we do this for our clients in the commenting fashion. So I would say that is most often best for companies that already do have product market fit to know what they're going after and whatnot, just because that allows us to have a little bit more success. But we effectively do a similar thing, just at a little bit larger scale for them.
So I've noticed when I've used Reddit before, sometimes it does say, AI generated comment. Is that from Reddit specifically, or does your tool get like detected that it's an AI generated comment?
I believe that I actually haven't seen that yet. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I believe probably they are trying to detect AI. Yet again, their incentive, they have a partnership with all these AI labs. Their incentives is to provide human training data. So they want to detect AI and probably discourage that. So I believe that's probably on their end. They see things that look shamelessly like AI, lots of bullet points, M dashes,
Mhm.
being overly enthusiastic in the wording. So I believe that is probably them detecting that and just letting the user know.
Yeah, that makes sense. But like the key is that you said is to make it as a human like as possible so that it's true and authentically written as if it was coming from a human. So when you train your AI models, you get the voice of your client to help respond, or what kind of process do you go through to get it to make sure that it seems as humanly possible?
Yeah, the truth of the story is we have a lot of human intervention on the back end. So yeah, we certainly use AI to do 70% of the work to, find a good post and come up with a draft of a comment. But then we just use human intervention
Mhm.
to edit that down, make it look good. And that's part of our big value here is it's not
Mhm.
slop that we're putting out there in the comments.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff. And that's why 10-figure brands use us. But
Yeah.
yeah, we really do still use a good amount of human intervention. We're always kind of tweaking our prompts, and I imagine
Mhm.
they'll get better over time, and maybe that'll go down to 1%. But it's really important to us. We represent these big brands, and we want to do right by them. And make sure they look good, and nobody's ever like, "Oh, that's just AI generated content for big name
Right.
brand out there." That's a horrible disservice. So we're really focused on quality over quantity.
That's awesome. So, how did you get to this point where, I mean, because you said you kind of pivoted, and what made you think of this idea, and how did you get to where you're doing this now and perfecting it as you are?
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me. So our agency's been around for getting close to a decade now. We were actually really big in the cold email game for the past 7 to 8 years. I learned how to cold email, lead generate back 15 years ago when I started a SaaS company out of college. That's how we grew our business. So once I exited that business, then went on to do that for other clients and help them grow. So we've been doing that for years now. That space is getting incredibly more complex and strict
Mhm.
and whatnot, especially with AI. And the email service providers are obviously cracking down daily.
Mhm.
So I've been a longtime Reddit user, so I've been kind of watching the space obviously, and over the past several years, seen with the advent of LLMs, seen this develop, and then we obviously had our agency built and had systems in place and knew how to serve clients. So when we rolled this out a few years back, it was a no-brainer, and immediately doubled our revenue actually in a single month,
Mhm.
just because we knew what we were doing, we had systems in place, and it was a no-brainer for us and our clients. But yeah, that's kind of how we've gotten to where we are today.
That's amazing. I know sometimes Reddit can be a little overwhelming for people that aren't normally used to it or haven't been with it for a while. I know right now I end up getting sucked down the rabbit hole and listening, or reading the am I the a-hole for, and then they describe a situation and a scenario, and then everybody comments about, yes you are, no you're not, and then they like want more information. I mean, you really can get sucked down that hole, but I think that there's definitely a place, and I don't know that it's widely known yet. I mean, I feel like Reddit's been around for a really long time, but I just wonder if brands are really keyed into utilizing Reddit like this. What do you think?
Yeah, that's kind of the mind-blowing part. So right now, fewer than 5% of brands are actually doing anything about AI search or Reddit. And that gap is the biggest opportunity I have seen in a decade, maybe even longer than that. So it's just a huge opportunity right now.
Mhm.
This is like SEO 25 years ago. Everyone says, "Oh, I wish I would have started SEO back in the beginning." It's like, well, now you can with AI
Mhm.
search and Reddit. Um, all the brands kind of know they need to be doing something about it. They have no idea. And I still think it's a tiny percentage of them that are actually doing anything about it. And it will only get harder and more competitive each day
Mhm.
moving forward. So right now is the time to get on AI search and Reddit, in my opinion.
What kind of brands do you think would have wild success if they were to go down the Reddit rabbit hole, if you will? Like
Yeah,
types of
first.
brands. I mean, you mentioned the energy bar, or the bar that but like obviously health and wellness. But what other brands are you seeing that would just have this huge opportunity in front of them?
Yeah, I think the two hallmarks of what a great fit would be are one, usually it's consumer focused. Reddit is a little bit more, it's a consumer platform. So it's a little bit more consumer focused. So usually that's e-commerce brands, ones that have been spending huge amounts of money on SEO and organic because SEO is shifting to AEO or AI search. So consumer brands, and then ones with a really good niche. It's not just like baby soap, but it's soap for X, Y, and Z type babies, or allergens or something like that, something super
Mhm.
niche that actually has subreddits with people that are just looking for this and have a problem they need to solve to be solved. So it's not only a combination of a large TAM, total addressable market, so
Mhm.
consumer brands, but also a super good niche within those. Those are like fish in the barrel.
I have to laugh just a little bit, because if I'm scrolling Instagram, I will see, and Facebook, I'll see an ad for Reddit advertising, because I think, I'm a marketer, so they're targeting me like to market on Reddit. I just wonder, I mean, it was kind of ironic that they're on a different platform telling people to advertise on Reddit. Do you think that is that they're kind of trying to expand their advertising on Reddit? And what does that look like to you?
Yeah, admittedly, I have never done any of the paid side on Reddit, but just going back to kind of human incentives, they want they're being paid for training, human training data for the AI labs, and they want those partnerships to keep going. Reddit's been unprofitable for 2 decades and now finally might turn a profit with this new business model. So they want more people on their platform effectively. So I think advertising on other platforms to get people over there is probably a good idea. The ads on Reddit itself, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
All of us kind of OG Reddit users, we all kind of make fun of the ads on there. Like none of us are ever thinking, wow, these are the greatest ad copy ever. And who knows, maybe that's an opportunity for incredible marketers like yourself that know what they're doing. But um, on the other side of that, I've been told that the cost per click is incredibly low on Reddit, so maybe it's something to look into. I think it will probably only get better from here, just kind of based on a function of all the investment that's being made.
Yeah, because to the point of Reddit hasn't been making money, and I just thought, oh, now they're trying to be, trying to make it as a revenue generator for them. I kind of did wonder, like, well, how does Reddit even make money if they really haven't been doing a ton of, like sponsored ads or, sponsored content like you see on other things. So that is going to be interesting to see how it changes the dynamic a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, very similar to surely AI will roll out advertisements on their own.
Mhm.
It's right now it's like, oh man, Google's gotten so many paid links at the top. You have to scroll to the bottom to see the first organic one, and everyone's so annoyed with that. I mean, that's
Mhm.
certainly going to happen in AI search at some point.
Mhm.
It's that's just the natural state of things. So yeah, it's no surprise, I think.
Well, they have to sustain the platform somehow, I suppose, and
Yeah,
just like,
I don't think it's a bad thing.
yeah. Just like everything, you've got to, pay to play and have the advertisements, you got to watch them just so that you can watch your program or you can listen to your radio show or now listen to your podcast with all the dynamic ad insertion there. It's just another platform, another way, another tool to think about how you can incorporate that into your success overall, right?
Yeah, totally. Fully agree.
Let's ring in the new year with success on the horizon and big dreams ahead. You're invited to the New Marketing Trends for the New Year workshop and networking event. Join us Thursday, January 15th at the WAFED headquarters. The workshop runs from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m., followed by the Word of Mouth Mixer. Hear from industry experts who will dive into the latest trends, top tools, and must-know insights that can elevate your marketing strategy. Don't miss out. Visit marketingtrendsevent.com to reserve your spot. The New Marketing Trends for the New Year workshop and networking event, Thursday, January 15th.
So just give an idea, and I'm not going to commit you to this, and if you don't want to share, that's fine. But what range of, if we were to, because it is budget season and people are thinking about what they're going to do for, you know, 2026, and this podcast will be out probably within the next month or so. What kind of budget should people put into their Reddit strategy?
Yeah, so assuming we're talking about organic here, obviously paid is
Yeah.
probably more for the spend. Yeah, on the Reddit strategy, I think if you want a trustworthy agency, so there's a lot of obviously outsourced companies, which I think are fantastic, but of course, then you have to manage to outsource people. Then maybe there's a language barrier and maybe there's time zone differences and instructional difficulties, and nothing wrong with that. But assuming you don't want to deal with all that, for the agencies that are nearby, that have been doing this a while, like us, you can probably plan to be spending anywhere between $1,500 a month on the very low end, all the way up to maybe $3,000 a month on the higher end, just kind of depending on scale and size of company and things like that, and also scope of work. There are agencies out there that do a lot more than us. Like we focus on really good commenting because that's what we believe is the thing that moves the needle. Some agencies help you develop your own subreddits and your own branded accounts and AMAs and posts and all that jazz. So we're very niche because we believe what we do actually moves the needle. But for those other agencies, the budgets would be bigger.
No, that's a fair statement. I think people then could realistically think about including something like this in their budgets, and it's not going to break the bank. It's going to add and augment what they're already doing with everything else that they've got going on. This will be another platform that they can use. And I think that because the AI models are utilizing Reddit, like you said, it could be a really great way for AI search engine optimization, or I guess augmented or whatever. I don't know how you say that.
No, nobody
Artificial
knows.
search optimization. Yeah. You can say it better.
Yeah. Yeah, we just call it, people were saying AEO, GEO, but now I just say AI search because that's like the most general way to say it. All the acronyms were getting
Mhm.
out of control. But I fully agree. And people allocating marketing budget can probably think about it this way. Maybe you don't need any new budget, but look at your SEO organic. Is
Mhm.
it going down? Most people's is going down. Their
Mhm.
SEO spend is getting worse results because some of that share is being taken up by AI search now. So you could almost just reallocate,
Mhm.
maybe call it 25% of that SEO spend you were doing every month toward AI search now. And AI search is not only Reddit. We believe that's a huge needle mover for AI search.
Mhm.
But of
Yeah.
course, there's different things in AI search you could be doing as well.
Yeah, I think that people need to recognize the idea that you want all of our voice search tools that we have to be the answer to our questions that we're querying with, asking Google. Or I have to be careful because I have, there's Siri, there's Google, there's Alexa, there's all these things surrounding me right now. But I feel like when you ask those devices questions, we want to have our results be the answer. And so, yeah, there's definitely, like you said, there's seemingly more and more tactics to take to make sure that your brand is the answers to those questions that people have, right?
Yeah, I think that's the goal. And um, it can be overwhelming for people. Like if you have been a brand that's been spending, 10K a month on SEO for the past decade and you've been crushing it and now you see that ROI going down, that's probably stressful. But sticking your sand in or head in the sand is not the not the way forward here. So it's just kind of understanding what AI search is. I think the other thing that is really important, and this is especially important for e-commerce brands. So obviously, we do a ton of different work for all different sorts of companies on Reddit.
Mhm.
But for e-commerce brands, and I'm not sure if you saw this, but ChatGPT a few weeks ago released their "Buy It Now" button. So
Mm.
you can now, and they rolled it out to Etsy and Shopify, kind of a limited rollout. Um, but imagine this. So before AI search, people would go to Google, check out the top couple links, go to those websites, kind of make a decision from there, maybe check out a little social media. And now there's a cohort of people, and it's growing every day, that are only using their favorite LLM. So for me, that's ChatGPT. So I go in there and I'm saying, hey, what's the best PFAS-free nonstick pan that I can buy? And it gives me a few different recommendations. And
Mhm.
then imagine this, there's a buy it now button. So I don't even go to anyone's website
Genius.
anymore. And that's the thing that should kind of scare people and excite them.
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
because yeah, maybe your website doesn't matter anymore. It's like
Mhm.
maybe for these people that are like extreme fans of ChatGPT or whatever their favorite LLM is, maybe they just shop natively within that now, and whatever those LLMs recommend is what they buy. So I think that is like the major takeaway for e-commerce brands, because those buy it now buttons are only coming more so into the fold here.
And thank you for sharing that, because I'm behind on my reading on figuring these things out. But I'm curious. Do people have to pay to play and have that buy it now button? Do you know?
The brands themselves,
Hmm.
no, not that I am aware of. There's a bit of technical configuration to make sure your brand can be AI has some just kind of technical setups that needs to kind of
Hmm.
scrape your information and to recommend it in a format that it can display in that way. But I believe it is totally free. I'm willing to be correct if I'm wrong on that. I have not seen any payment for that though.
Maybe they're going to. It'll probably be
Yeah,
another
it's
source for them to make money, I'm sure,
oh,
at some point. But yeah, that's really
absolutely,
cool.
and they should, like any of those platforms, Shopify, they're all taking their
Mhm.
fee for getting traffic to stores and whatnot. But yeah, I just think I think it should worry some people if they're not being recommended by AI, because who knows, maybe their website doesn't matter as much, or their other
Mhm.
organic search for all these new buyers that are coming online. I guess you kind of fast forward 10 years from now, and I think about those future people and even younger generations that have just natively grown up with AI search. They're not using Google
Mhm.
anymore.
Right.
And how are they shopping? Like for our generation, we may never go over to AI shopping fully, but for this next
Mhm.
generation, it's like, yeah, maybe they have 100% shopping habits online with AI search.
Well, I was pretty proud of myself and our team for figuring out the TikTok shop
Oh, nice.
and being able to buy natively, or be able to have brands sell their product natively inside of TikTok rather than, because they don't want you to leave the platform to go somewhere else to buy. They want you to buy right inside of there. And it's just another one more new technology, new tool, new tip, new way to move the needle, like you said. And I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good on you for figuring that out. I mean, I've never been on TikTok, but yeah, I mean, if I was a brand, it's how can you argue with that? Are you going to say that, oh, all these future buyers, I'm just going to ignore? Of course
I
not.
know. Well, it was a little bit reluctant on some part, just trying to figure out a new thing and trying to determine whether or not TikTok was going to stay or go, and if it was going to be
Yeah.
relevant or not, and so yeah, it's a whole nother world, another tool, another tactic to take, and yeah, tying that together with Reddit could be an interesting concept there.
Yeah, totally. Just, another channel to check out. I'm a big believer in marketing that not all channels are equal for every company.
Mhm.
If you have a product that has, that doesn't have a demographic that goes on Reddit or uses AI, then it's probably not for you. But
Exactly.
it's for a
Mhm.
lot of companies, I'll say.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I get that too. And just trying to find the right channel at the right time and the right audience and figuring that out. I guess that's a good question. What types of people are Reddit users? Let's identify with these folks just for a moment. You're an avid Reddit user. I'm sort of a, in between. Every once in a while, I'll look at it. But let's talk about that for a minute. If you were to
Yeah.
profile an average Reddit user, what would they look like? Who are they?
Yeah, I think demographically, I think last time I checked, they are probably in my age category. So call that somewhere between like early 30s to 50, maybe mid 50s, kind of in that range, I believe is like the main category. And they're usually kind of fans of obscure niche things, because that is what Reddit is
Mhm.
good at with all these subreddits.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't like regular social media with all the FOMO and the pictures of travel that make you jealous. They just want to be anonymous and go interact with their tribe. And that's kind of who Reddit users are from what I've seen most.
Yeah, I think that pretty well describes Reddit users. And last time I used it, well, I did the am I the a hole or not? But then also I love trivia, and so there's a subreddit channel with like trivia questions and people, and of course you can always look up the answers, but that's not fun, right? No one, I mean, like that's just that's not the assignment. And so I love to look at the trivia and other things. I'm just trying to think of other ways that I've used Reddit before. Another good thing that I think people could use it for too is all of the scams that are going on. People will
Mm,
post information about how they got scammed, or or asking the Reddit fans or followers or users, I should say, about like, is this a scam or not? And then
yep.
people will follow up with that. So it's a good like resource, and just a way to get information, and really current information too. I've seen I don't know. How
Yeah.
else do you use Reddit, Danny? What's your go-to? Because you've said you've been an avid user for a long time. I'm just painting a picture for those who've never really been on it. What are some things that you use Reddit for?
Yeah, for sure. I would say both for scrolling pleasure. So, some of
Yeah.
my kind of topical categories right now are Norwegian forest cats. I have one, so always some great
Aw.
pictures of cats on there.
Aw.
I'm into ultra running right now, so I follow ultra running subreddit, some travel things. So whenever we're taking a trip, I kind of follow those subreddits, learn more, see some pictures, get some inspiration.
Oh yeah,
And
travel.
then also, what was that?
Oh yeah, travel. That's a great one.
Yeah, yeah. Travel is huge. Yeah, that's every possible place on planet Earth has a subreddit. It feels like, um, and from people that like usually know what they're talking about. So I think that's cool.
Mhm.
And then on the other side of things, it is on the consumer product side of things. So, like you said, is something a scam or not? Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think? Asking some nuanced questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a knee issue and I needed when running, and I needed a certain strap for it. And I saw somebody in the ultra running community post a picture about theirs, and I put a comment in saying, "Hey, congrats on the race. What'd you think of that knee strap?" Just getting some kind of feedback on it. So yeah, I think on the product side of things, it's huge as well.
No, that's a great idea. I know. I was just clicking to through Reddit just because I was curious, like, what are the 100,000 communities influencing what people are reaching and buying? Is the reach your niche audience is the first thing that pops up. And then of course the other thing that popped up is get $500 in ad credit when you spend $500.
Yeah, they're
That's
turning
funny.
it on.
Yep, for sure. Anyway, well, this has been a really enlightening conversation, Danny. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience about Reddit, about your business, about you? What would you like to share?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that if this sounds interesting, I'm always happy to chat. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure I'll be in the show notes. Our website is Reddi, REDDI, Reach, REACH.com. I'm also incredibly active on LinkedIn. If you type in Danny Kirk, ReddiReach, or my handle is Daniel P. Kirk, I believe, you'll find me there. I always tell people, like, send me your website link and I'll give you a score of 0 to 10, just like how confident I am of this working, the good fit there. I'm happy to give you some free advice. So feel free to reach out on either.
Excellent. Awesome. Thanks, Danny, so much for all of your insights. And just now I have so many ideas floating around in my head. And I think that, we will encourage some of our brands to check out what you're doing, because why not go to the experts that have been doing it for a long time rather than trying to reinvent the wheel? So thank you for this opportunity to meet with you, Danny.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Ray. It was my pleasure.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, the best thing that you can do for Danny and I both is share this episode with those that you know who need what he does. It sounds like there's quite a few people who could utilize what he has, right, Danny?
Yep, I think so.
And then the other thing that you can do for us is share this, but also give us a review. And that is like podcast gold for us. So really appreciate all of those of you who have given us the review. Just wanted to mention that. And until next time, everybody, enjoy your marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.